Welcome to the lecture of labor economics course on job search and unemployment. I should mention that, at least from my perspective, this lecture might be the most interesting lecture, both in terms of the questions it asks and also the answers it provides. There are some parts like the human capital chapter and the personal economics and internal markets, where there are interesting questions, but answers are, in my opinion, relatively more incomplete. I mean, in this chapter also you find a very satisfactory answers on the specific way the job market by itself. I mean, this job finding process itself is how it is unfolding, and it also gives it some hints on the greater organization of the labor in an economy, which is, in my opinion, still a not fully explored topic in economics. But anyway, so it is also a long part. I mean, I have combined job search and unemployment chapters. The job search is at the center, the relatively more mathematical part, but we will also see in unemployment part certain concepts plus some empirical research. So let's start basically. The first slide contains a video which is on the unemployment and job search of young people. I mean, here basically they look to the people who have just graduated from the university, and you might basically look on different aspects of this process, like the main tools they use to look for job, increase their ability to find a better job, plus some secondary less income generating jobs the people in this video are basically taking. So the young people in this video are not actually counted as unemployed. They are also not counted as people outside of the labor force, because actually they have jobs, but they still count themselves as unemployed. And that's an aspect of unemployment we will also discover in this. I mean, we'll also talk on in this lecture. Let's continue. So, the initial analysis of the labor market, as we have seen, was based on the view that the basic demand and supply model could be applied also to the labor market. And when this was done, we have seen in the previous chapter, I mean, some explanations for that, and we will repeat them to some extent here. But for early economists, basically, this type of market would mean there won't be any unemployment, because if there's unemployment, then the price of labor will fall, and for a lower price, there will be employment basically available for the people. So basically, unemployed people, on the other hand, according to the definition, should be the people who want to have employment, but who are not able to get that employment. So the unemployed people are not the people who are not working. They should be willing to get employment. So basically, I mean, such people can exist only temporarily before price corrects itself, and at the lower price, either certain people might just not want to work anymore because the wage for them might be too low, and other people who want to, so they won't be unemployed, they will be outside of the labor force, and other people will just find the job at existing wage and they will just stay employed. So in the short run it can exist, in the long run it doesn't exist, but when we speak with people individually, at least there are people you can find who say they want to be part of the labor force, they can do any job at any price, but they just cannot find a job, basically. What can we say on this, basically? Response. Are these people lying, or are macroeconomics models misleading, basically? And the other thing is actually there are macroeconomic variables who actually ask people whether they are looking actively for the unemployed for a new job, and they actually measure unemployment, and according to those measurements we have in all countries some unemployment, in some cases high, in some cases low. Are these variables, the unemployment rate is the most obvious one, but there are some additional ones also we will see. Are these variables misleading? Are these variables wrong? Is macroeconomic side of the unemployment basically misleading us? This is the other question, and some answers from the mainstream perspective, I mean, are the closest answer we can fall back to is maybe there are some imperfections in the market that might be creating unemployment. Although this job search model will provide us an alternative explanation, we will see. So, as we have talked, I mean, the unemployment according to mainstream economics is, according to early economics can only exist in the short run, and basically wages fall back to a lower level, and that will clear out the unemployment if there is any unemployment existing. So Marx was an economist who actually has written against this view, but his view on unemployment was pretty much a macro perspective. Actually, he looks at unemployment from the perspective of the capitalists, and he says actually capitalist system continuously needs a workforce that is not working, but that is able to work when the need arises. So that workforce is called by Marx reserve army of labor. How, from the perspective of the people in the reserve army, I mean, the process goes on, I mean, their choices, their perspectives, their willingness to work or not, actually shape this existence of the reserve army is not something Marx has been focused on. But in in time of Marx, I mean, the people who want to work, who can do any job, but who are not able to work, who are not able to find those jobs, they were visible. And he says those people are necessary for the capitalist economy. So the existence of those people are taken as a fact by Marx. He didn't go to their perspective, basically. He didn't look for why are those people within the reserve army but not other people, basically, or their willingness to work for any job, for example. They also didn't look to that. He doesn't look to that. Well, Well, the main thing is, however, economic system, one way or the other, has to create this reserve force according to Marx. So it should force people outside of potential jobs, according to him. Although, I mean, the way he defines reserve army will basically will show that not all people in the reserve army are actually out of jobs. Some of them have jobs, but those jobs are temporary jobs or part-time jobs, basically. But one way or the other, economic system should push some people, and who those some people are, of course, depends on the people's characteristics and relative power and relative skills. But some people, at least, should be pushed out of the labor, the employed labor force, according to Marx. So the main reason is, there are different reasons. One reason is actually you need to have pressure on the wages, and in order to have pressure on the wages, without that pressure on the wages, labor can easily get upper hand because they are producing, they can organize within the workplace, and they can push the wages up, and as a result, up to the point when profits can go down to unbearable points. That's one reason. You need unemployment to keep the wages down. If workers make those demands, you might fire them, and there are always new people you can hire in their place. So that's one reason unemployment should exist. The other reason is demand in the economic system continuously goes up and down, and when demand is low, you should be able to fire your workforce so that you can lower your costs, basically. And when demand is high, you should not be worried on getting back new workers. If you are worried that maybe you cannot find any new workers, in that case, basically, you might be also reluctant to fire workers. So this existing of reserve army helps you to firing workers without hesitation when demand is low. Well, that's the other reason. And for both of the reasons, when in the capitalist economic system, the reserve army is not too large, it brings the profits down because the costs of production increases, both because wages cannot be pushed down, and also if the reserve army is not large enough, then the companies might be reluctant to fire workers when they don't need those workers. As a result, their production costs might be also high because they need to pay wages to those workers when they don't need those workers. As a result, the profits go down, investments go down, the economy enters into a stagnation, and companies now they cannot, they go bankrupt, or they downsize, they fire workers. As a result, basically, the size of reserve army increases. So when the size of reserve army initially is small, then the economic system create conditions which will increase the size of reserve army back to a large level. According to Marx, of course, these are the other characteristics. If the reserve army size is not too large, in that case, the companies will basically switch machinery for labor, which has some other consequences, but that's one. Another characteristic, which at the time of small reserve army, increases the reserve army size back to the necessary size. Okay. Now, Marx defines certain segments of the reserve army. I will talk on that in the next parts.